This is King 5 Television.
And now, with all the news for Western Washington, Gene Enerson and Barry Judge, meteorologist Jeff Renner,
and Carlos Del Valle Sports.
This is King 5 News at 11.
You're looking at a live picture at Walla Walla State Penitentiary. Emotions run high tonight outside the prison walls. Inside, triple murderer Charles Campbell is less than an hour away from execution. And we have just learned that Charles Campbell is fighting to the end. He reportedly had to be pepper-maced by prison guards within the last hour. And his appeals now nearly exhausted.
His last hope for a stay of execution is the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. That court already turned Campbell down once tonight, as did the U.S. Supreme Court, as did Governor Mike Lowry earlier today. Well, now it appears Campbell will pay the ultimate price for the throat-slashing deaths of Renee Wickland, her daughter Shanna, and neighbor Barbara Hendrickson at Wickland's Clearview home that April day in 1982.
We have a series of live reports for you tonight on the Campbell execution. Linda Byron is live in Walla Walla, where behind state penitentiary walls, Charles Campbell is scheduled to die. We'll tell you about protests going on outside the prison. Robert Mack is live in Olympia tonight for the latest on last-ditch efforts to spare Charles Campbell's life. Plus, a live report from Alan Schaffler, who is in Clearview tonight, the hometown of Campbell's murder victims. Many residents there say that justice is long overdue. We begin tonight with Linda Byron, who is live at the prison in Walla Walla.
After hours of waiting and days of preparation, authorities inside these prison walls say they are ready to hang Charles Campbell. Media representatives who will witness the execution, as well as family members and other witnesses, are in a waiting room right now, and the inmate himself is in a holding cell just behind the gallows. But it was not easy to get him there. In fact, authorities say they had a very difficult time transferring him off death row this afternoon.
Miss Campbell was unresponsive to a command to cuff up. That is, to back up to the cuff port in the intensive management unit cell that he occupied this afternoon. And indeed, we did administer pepper spray to him, at which time, without incident, we were able to subdue him and cuff him and transport him from the intensive management unit to the holding cell of the chamber.
Now, prison officials also say that after they removed Charles Campbell from his cell in the IMU, they found what they term contraband inside the cell, which reportedly may have contained some homemade knives. Now, of course, Campbell's legal maneuvers have failed up to this point, but that could change at any minute. And authorities have established 3 phone lines that are being kept open right now from a central communication center inside of the prison. One of them goes to the Attorney General's office in Olympia, a second one to the corrections secretary there, and a third one directly into the execution chamber. With one phone call, the execution could be called off, but unless that call comes, Campbell could be dead in just over an hour.
Deep inside the prison, in a death chamber holding cell, Charles Campbell could not see the sunset over Walla Walla, but it's expected to be his last. Campbell's case has generated so much fear and anger over the years, authorities aren't taking any chances tonight. Extra security teams are on hand, borrowed from facilities across the mountains. And the prison has adopted a zero-tolerance policy when it comes to protests on either side of the death penalty.
Our concern is alcohol consumption, drugs, definitely the attitude. If we have somebody that's real hostile, they're out of here.
This is where Campbell is spending his final moments. Authorities say he is continuing to work on his appeals and was also given writing paper and stamps at his request. Campbell's attorney has been with him most of the day, working the phone in an effort to save the triple murderer from the gallows. Authorities say Campbell no longer has the right to choose the option of lethal injection. Barring a court order, he will hang. As midnight approaches, Campbell will be led into the gallows, where he will be asked to deliver any final words to the witnesses. Then his hands will be bound, a noose placed around his neck, a hood placed over his head. And when the superintendent gives the signal, with a push of the button, the trap door will open.
Now, the superintendent's office says this afternoon Charles Campbell said that he would like his remains to go to Judith Dirks. Judith Dirks is the former nun that Campbell met while he was at the Monroe Reformatory and the mother of his 12-year-old son. Judith Dirks visited Campbell this morning here at the state penitentiary, and over the years, Dirks and the boy, Jacob, have been frequent visitors to Charles Campbell. Linda Byron reporting live in Walla Walla.
Linda, is it customary for an autopsy to be performed?
It is, Jean, ever since the Dodd execution last year, and one reason is that it becomes part of the record and could have a lot of impact on what will happen to future appeals involving hangings and executions of inmates on death row. There are 9 in addition to Charles Campbell who remain on death row. Also, one thing I should add here is Charles asked to be cremated. However, an autopsy will be conducted first.
All right, Linda, thank you.
Also in Walla Walla tonight, dozens of protesters both for and against the Campbell hanging.
King 5's Dan Lothian also joins us live from Walla Walla now with more on the emotions that are running high outside the prison walls. Dan?
Well, Jean, Barry, the feelings are very strong out here. As you mentioned, the two groups, they're in their own fenced-in areas that are heavily guarded. At 12:01, you will hear two things. Either justice has been served or the execution wasn't justified.
We shall overcome.
It is a cause these people say comes from the heart. Strong feelings against the death penalty.
I have to be here for myself because we are on the side that is right. We can talk about all the innocent people who've been executed.
With lit candles, they sing and pray and hope that one day capital punishment will be a thing of the past.
So we'll keep saying, not in my name, because we don't want to become killers. We don't want to lower ourselves to the 1982 standards of Charles Campbell.
But several yards away, in another penned-in area, sentiments run deep, but in another direction. These are the people who want to see Campbell die, and they have no qualms about it.
I was raised as a little boy, you know, I was punished when I got in trouble, and we've just got to do it.
Supreme Court to stop the execution.
At this hour, he has been turned down at every step. King 5's Robert Mack is live tonight at the Attorney General's office in Olympia with the latest on what could still delay the hanging.
Barry, we still have about an hour left, but right now there are indications that Campbell's attorneys have given up. They have told the United States Supreme Court that they will not file an appeal, and they have yet to get a stay of execution from the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals in San Francisco. Campbell has certainly tried every avenue he could, but today everyone has turned him down. The one person who could stop the execution was Governor Lowry. King 5 has learned the governor actually flew to Walla Walla on Tuesday for a personal meeting with Campbell. But the governor decided just before noon today, no clemency for the man who killed 2 women and an 8-year-old girl. Meanwhile, at 3 o'clock, another defeat for Campbell at the state Supreme Court, where he filed yet another last-minute petition.
The motion for discretionary review is denied.
Campbell's last hope for a stay of execution was federal court. In Seattle, Campbell's attorney argued that Campbell never got a chance to prove that the death penalty is not appropriate for his crimes. District Court Judge John Kuhnauer ruled Campbell is only trying to abuse the legal process. And that's when Campbell appealed to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals in San Francisco. 7:30 this evening, Attorney General Christine Gregoire received word that a 3-judge panel on the Ninth Circuit denied Campbell's action.
I am delighted that they have moved as swiftly as they have, and I think that we are on schedule with the execution. This motion, everything he's done today, we have anticipated